Hey, it's John Lee Dumas of EO Fire, and it's The Entrepreneurial You, the show for dedicated and passionate Caribbean entrepreneurs seeking daily inspiration, brought to you by author, speaker, and award-winning entrepreneur Heneka Watkis-Porter. You must be prepared to ignite.
Coming up on this episode of The Entrepreneurial You.
In the end, it's all about your gut. Whatever you're doing in life, if your gut is telling you do this or do that, probably go with what you feel instead of just listening to what other people are telling you to do. Or because if I go with what people were saying the whole journey beyond the Shark Tank, I would have quit already. Because a lot of people told me, you're not going to make this, this is not going to work out, you're not going anywhere, or that's a stupid idea, But in the end, I kept going with my gut, my passion, and then in the end, your own gut and your own passion will tell you if this is gonna work out or not. Sometimes people work in an idea for 20 plus years, and one moment it just clicks. And some people sometimes work in a year or so and it clicks, and sometimes you work your whole life and it doesn't happen. So in the end, your own heart will tell you if it's that moment to leave it or continue or just pursue it.
Hi, I'm Heneka Watkis-Porter, your inspirational leader and host of the Entrepreneurial You podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Jamaica Stock Exchange. And now, let's go to today's episode. Episode 72 of the Entrepreneurial You podcast features the CEO and founder of Benji Lock, the world's first traditional rechargeable padlock with fingerprint technology, with a purpose to redefine the personal security experience using hybrid technology with the consumer in mind. In 2017, he successfully pitched to the Sharks on Shark Tank. I'm all excited, super excited to finally welcome Roberto Cabral to the Entrepreneurial You podcast. Welcome, Robbie. So good to have you.
Likewise, Heneka. Likewise, I'm very excited to be here. It's been a long journey, and also we've been connecting for a while, and you've been following my journey. So I'm very excited to be part of your show.
Oh, indeed. No, before I get into what I really want to talk to you about, which is the whole Shark Tank experience, where you were, where are you now, what the journey has been like, etc. Do you know any Jamaican phrases or anything associated with Jamaica?
You know what? I don't, and I feel kind of bad because I lived my whole life in Dominican Republic up to age 23, so we're all in the same Caribbean.
Yes.
But I haven't been home now in over 10 years, so I really miss the Caribbean. So probably my next stop has to be before going home. I have to stop in Jamaica.
Yes, man.
Come
to Jamaica. We'll be happy to welcome you here. And of course, I've been to the DR just once. I think it was in 2013, where I showcased my clothing collection at the time, Pato Apparel. I enjoyed it. I really loved the experience. It was a great one. All right. So like you said, you are, and we know that you're from the Dominican Republic. What was it like for you growing up, Robbie? I know based on what was said in on Shark Tank that your wife is a teacher, you had 3 kids, and you did music and so on. But what was life for you like growing up in the DR?
Life was good. I mean, I won't complain. It was difficult too because I grew up without my father. So I was only raised by my mother, and pretty much my whole life it's always been on my own because my mom was always working 24/7 to kind of provide food on the table and all that. So I kind of raised myself pretty much on my own, going to school and all that, doing a lot of side jobs as well growing up. Then I jump into the whole college, but during that whole environment as well, I always was into music. I always found a passion for music, so I did probably 9 to 10 years in a band back home, and it was exciting and all that. That was kind of like my first entrepreneur journey in the whole music scene. But in the end, it gets to a point that when you're living in the Caribbean as a musician, the whole goal is to kind of get discovered, and it was very difficult at that time because we're doing music in English as well, and we're a Spanish-speaking country, so we're already kind of battling our demons there. So that was the step for me to kind of decide to take the band and move to the United States. And that's how I ended up in the States. Beyond that, but my whole life, yeah, it's been just myself, raised by my mom, and I have cousins and all that. And but yeah, it's always been a constant grind. But what really made me come to the States was the whole music environment, to try to do shows and get discovered and see how it goes. Take a risk in a sense. So.
And you just mentioned about not having a father around, and that seemed to be a Caribbean story predominantly. Because of course, I just put a post I wrote a story on Facebook and LinkedIn, I think no, Medium and LinkedIn, about that whole, father, not having father around, and also draw the impact and effect that can have on our children. But you, in spite of your struggles, you were hell-bent on pursuing success. And so you're apparently now going after what is considered the American dream. You wanted to pursue music, get discovered, but lo and behold, something else happened. Now, what happened that caused you to not focus on music anymore and to do something else?
Well, to tell you the truth, when we all moved in, the whole band, we started doing all these little shows here and there in the East Coast. And then from there, we went to California, did a couple shows here. But then, I kind of felt bad, but it's also reality. A lot of the members said, you know what, Robbie, we enjoy the music and all that, but in reality, it's getting a little bit difficult for us. So we're going to jet back home. And that's when I said to myself, if I go back home, it's just going to be the same thing. There's just not going to be no reason to just be stuck probably to a 9 to 5, or because we know the language of English. We're gonna end up working, because we were doing that before coming to America. Was working in a lot of the customer service, big corporate companies that take their customer service to other countries for us to kind of handle it. And it was a little bit tough, because for me, I mean, we were getting paid like $2-3 an hour. So I mean, for me, it was that was the American dream back home. But then when you get here, it's like crap. I just don't see myself going back. So long story short, they all went back. I ended up staying. I tried to keep pursuing the music. Couldn't find the right bandmates and all that. But just because I love music so much, I knew that the music industry was kind of going down. That's when like the Tower Records and Virgin Records and all these stuff was kind of closing. I decided to take a course. There's a school called UCLA, but they have a program at nighttime called UCLA Extension. And I ended up going there every night to study the music business. I was kind of lucky that the program was very cheap. It wasn't expensive. And then from there, I actually got my first job doing catering and cleaning dishes and all that. And kind of that's how I kind of rolled into the whole American spirit. And then I met my wife through the back and forths and all that, where I was living, and we just kept bumping into each other. And for some reason, we just connected. And now, 10 years later, we're married, 3 kids, and yeah, keep it and grinding.
That's an interesting story of resilience and in pursuit of your purpose. Now, you've invented this lock that uses fingerprint to open, and that's pretty innovative. In fact, you have won the Innovation Award for it. Tell me about that.
Oh, yeah. And, to tell you the truth, before that, I was going through a lot of ups and downs trying to get a really secure job. And I just couldn't get it because, sometimes the English language was a little bit difficult, writing emails. For some reason, I felt like I just couldn't connect with people. So I did a lot of applications, probably hundreds of applications, and maybe got called once. But then finally, I actually landed a really good job. It was a real estate company locally. Really good paid, and in that time my wife was only maybe 5 months pregnant. I had 2 other little ones, and I said to myself, you know what, let me just roll with this. It's not probably something that I've ever done before, but I feel that I could bring my expertise to this company, and it was great. I mean, I worked perfectly there for 6 months, But then, that's when it kind of really struck me that they let me go on the worst time of the year, which was December. And then the same day that I was let go, my daughter was born at nighttime. So that's when I was really kind of depressed. That's when I really went like really overweight. My wife had to go back to work again a month after because she only gets like a month leave. So then I was kind of stuck at home with 3 kids, 2 going to school, but then the other one was still a newborn. All the family lives back home, and that's when I was like, crap, I just want to go back home. Like this is kind of, it's not paneling the way I was kind of thinking, But then again, I took a deep breath and I said, you know what, I got 3 kids. I kind of have my own family here now. I can't really go backwards. So that's when I started walking. There's a big thing called the Rose Bowl here. They do like a lot of big games. So I started walking there. And then from there, I started going to the gym at nighttime when I put all the kids to sleep. And that's when the idea sparked, because a lot of people, some people were leaving the keys inside the locker. One guy had to bolt cut the lock. And I said, crap, why there's just not just a simple lock that you can open with a fingerprint, but also with a key. Just simple. I don't want no app or nothing, just because I didn't have really the budget to go for it, but also I didn't have the expertise. So I just wanted to keep it simple that even if my 4-year-old can open it, maybe someone that has disabilities up to 80 years old can still open it. And that was my goal. So I started doing the whole research about it. Nothing came up. And that's kind of how I went through this whole journey. And I worked on that project for 3 or so years before I actually stepped into the whole Shark Tank. So it was a big journey. My big risk for me was going to that show called CES, because before the show, no one knew about me. I've been working on the project for a couple years already, but I was really kind of like really local, working with a local engineer, a local graphic designer, and just bouncing ideas for a long time. And then the prototype itself wasn't really all the way functional, but I said to myself, I just have to take the risk. And there's a big show coming up in Vegas in January. That was 2017. I remember saying in December 2016, I'm just going to take a leap of faith. I don't have that much money to really have a booth, but I'm just going to take it and see how it goes. And it was actually worth it to go in with a working prototype, because that's when it kind of really the buzz started about the product. And that this was before the whole Shark Tank, but like I already kind of had a buzz starting, because everybody noticed, hey, we need this product now. How can we buy it? And that's when I said, oh, crap, I may have something good here, but now I don't know what to do next. So that's how I ended up in the track record. And then they had a whole Shark Tank casting call in that same show. So I did a big line, and I kind of told my story to the gentleman and all that. And then that was it. I lost touch, and then I just kept going to shows and all that. And then one day I got an email that said, hey, Robbie, we met you a couple months ago. Can you please submit some more information? And I went on a back and forth for like probably 4 or 5 months until I literally stepped inside there and just be myself and did my thing.
Before you go into that experience, because you're talking to me right now and telling me that story, and I kid you not, all the chills, I'm just getting all the chills just listening to you and about your story. It's amazing. And the irony is not lost on me that the very day that you lost your job, you were laid off. It was the very day that your daughter was born. That for me is very symbolic. You're moving out of a very dark time and you're entering into light. And no, it has not been an easy road, but for me, that's very symbolic. And I'm sure you'd have noticed that as well. We are going to take a break right here. This is just so gripping. We're going to take a break right here to read reviews and to thank our sponsors. And when we come back, we're going to go right into the Shark Tank experience. Let's take a break. And here is a review. Really cool and interesting podcast. Lots of value bomb dropped, and I love the name. Awesome guests. Looking forward to more. And this is coming from Lamech1990 out of the USA. That's username Lamech1990. Keep the reviews coming, and guess what? You could hear your very own review being read on an upcoming episode of the Entrepreneurial You podcast. Remember, should you write an interview or review rather, when you write a review, please email me at henekawatkis@gmail.com and let me know, because unless I go into the individual Apple Store for each country, then I won't be able to see that review. And it's difficult to go through all the Apple stores in all the countries. So just do me a favor and send me an email about it so that I can check it and read it right here on the Entrepreneurial You podcast. Listen up. If you are based in Jamaica, this is for you. The world needs your voice. It's as simple as that. So create your own podcast. Visit HenekaWatkis-Porter.com and sign up now to your podcasting workshop. Increase your network and your net worth by connecting with global guests and an audience from all over the world. Hurry up. Spaces are limited, so sign up now at HenekaWatkis-Porter.com and be part of the movement and ahead of the game.
We needed to raise capital, but our experience with local financial institutions was that they were cautious and slow to act, and interest rates were far too high. We had real concerns about financing our business through outside equity investors and the possibility of interference. Could we get a fair valuation for our business? We had our own ideas about the business and its value. Should I go the traditional route of bank financing, or should I try the Jamaica Stock Exchange? So we made a call and experienced transformation of our business through conversations. I'm John Mafood, CEO of Jamaican Teas, and we're listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
Give us a call today at 876-967-3271 to begin your transformation through conversation. We want to see your company listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
Welcome back. And in case you're just joining me, I have been talking with Roberto Cabral. Robbie, he's the founder of Benji Lock, which is a very special rechargeable lock that it uses a fingerprint technology. Very interesting. He's gotten innovation award for it. He's been on Shark Tank and so on. And Robbie has been talking to me about his experience before Shark Tank and leading up to. And so we're right at that point now where we are going to be getting the experience on Shark Tank, right? So that American dream didn't work for you initially, right? You were laid off the very day your daughter was born. And this idea is here. Now, I watched you on Shark Tank, and first of all, let me commend you on your growth, significant growth, because even on your Instagram page, I remember I was being very deliberate about checking on you, and I remember I think at the point when you were on, or when the show aired, you were about 1,000 followers, and now you are 14,000 odd. So, and that's a few months ago, pretty much, right? So I have even watched that growth, and I've seen the different shows that you've been a part of. I've just seen the different things that you're doing, and I'm super, super excited for you. I feel like, I know you, like, face to face, and we've had face to face conversations. Now, you are asking for 200,000 in exchange for 10% of your company, which means that you had a valuation of 2 million, right? You were very emotional on Shark Tank. Why was that?
No, I mean, to tell you the truth, I was very emotional because before you actually go into the show, you have to go through this whole process of a couple months of a back and forth, and you don't really know who you're gonna go in and pitch until probably a day before. So then, I think that day I didn't eat nothing. I was literally just, I'm just gonna be myself and roll with it. And I think that was the best thing for me, because just being yourself, just showcasing what you went through, and because I think the show itself, it's only, you see on the TV only like 15 minutes or so, but when I went inside there, I was there for probably like 40 minutes, because I was literally just being myself. I pitched my product, and then from there was a lot of back and forth questions. I knew I was gonna get annihilated, just because I was kind of like a one-man army, but I knew that I had something special. I had already a lot of buzz behind the product, and I just felt like I needed someone to kind of help me navigate a lot of these things that probably will come my way that I don't really understand. So in the end, I was just myself. I did get emotional because, the whole thing of the story of the product. In reality, I never envisioned creating this product. To tell you the truth, I was really happy just working my job, being home with the kids and all that. I never really thought of this idea until that thing happened. So that's why I always get emotional, because in the end, maybe it was good that happened, because then that kind of gave me the fire or the spark to pursue something else. And that's how the whole Benji Lock came to. So yeah, the episode was very emotional just because I just decided to be myself. There's no point for you to, if any people that are interested in actually applying and going to the whole Shark Tank experience, my advice is always just be yourself. There's no point of making up numbers or lying or nothing, because they'll know right away if you're for real or not. And I said to myself, I'm just going to be myself, be real. And if it works, great. If not, then at least I gave it all,
And you got offers from all of the sharks except Mark Cuban. And as I watched the show, I really thought that you would have gone with A-Rod because of the like me phenomena. He's Hispanic and you could relate to each other and the language and everything. Why did you not go with A-Rod and opted instead for Mr. Wonderful?
Yeah, I won't lie. That was very difficult. The whole process was very difficult. Even Mark Cuban getting out, I felt like he was really helpful, because during the whole pitch, even though he got out, he really gave me some perception of what's best for you and what's not, at least from his standpoint. And then the other sharks, they were all great. I remember when I finalized the show, I hugged all of them. They didn't show that on camera, but I went to all of them and gave them a hug and told them that thank you so much for the opportunity. It was difficult because I connected with A-Rod through all our Spanish culture and all that, being from Dominican. But then I also thought that he partnered up with Barbara Corcoran, which she was great as well. And I thought to myself, that's great. Those are two sharks that maybe could help me out a lot, because I'm just a one-man army. I really put that into perspective. But then also, Lori Grainer was very interesting, because I admire her work and everything. And I also thought that she would have been a great member to be teamed up with because of the product and because of her successful track line with products and all that on QVC. So I said to myself, she could be great as well, because she's also seen the vision and all that. But then, for some reason, Kevin, the whole episode before I went in, a lot of family members and friends said, hey, don't go with that guy. He's going to annihilate you. You should not even deal with that guy. He's, all these bad words and blah, blah, blah. And I said, I don't really watch the show. I did the Shark Tank casting. And then from there, I just been on a back and forth trying to get on the show. And then I did watch an episode here and there, but then I disconnected because I felt like that will give me more anxiety. So I just said, I'm not want to watch that. I don't really know who I'm dealing with. But I knew that when I stepped in the first time, Ken was really looking at me very seriously, very, it was kind of scary. So I was like, oh, crap. I thought to myself, this guy's going to kill me. But for some reason, all the questions that he was asking me, beyond the other sharks, all the questions were like questions that were coming already within me for a while. And I felt like he really kind of knew where I was at the moment. It was just a match. And I was like, crap. I'm thinking deep inside, this guy really knows me. For some reason, all the questions that I've been kind of lingering for a long time, he's asking them and the others aren't. So there's something here. For some reason, I just felt like he was kind of getting where I was going to. And it was difficult because in the moment, all these offers were on the plate. It was hard to really not go with someone from back home because you get to know them on a personal level as well, especially with the language. And it was hard to say no to Lori, but then I just went with what I was feeling in the moment. And the moment told me just go with Mr. Wonderful, go with Kevin. He's asking you the right questions. He just knows you. And that was it. And another thing that I really like about him is that because I used to be a musician, I remember on the set, I brought a guitar with a Benji lock and all that. And he asked me one of the questions, why is the guitar there? And I told him that the guitar was there because when I used to be in a band, we used to go on tour in a little bus. And then we used to lock our little bus on the back with the lock. And that's why I said, that's why the guitar is there. Not because I used to like music, but I feel like it connects in the music world as well. And lo and behold, he plays guitar. He loves music. So
Yeah,
those
that's
were
another
things
connection.
exactly. Those were connections that the other people didn't had that he did. And that's when I said, you know what, this is the guy. And that's when the whole thing went down because everyone thought I was going with
With
A-Rod.
A-Rod, yeah, I thought so too. But I mean, you were there in the moment. And one of the things I find as an entrepreneur is that sometimes we just have to go with our gut feeling, not what everything, looks like around us and what everybody else is telling us, but what are we feeling inside at that very moment. So I'm sure you would have made the best decision for you. You were in the moment, you knew what was happening and where you wanted to go. So of course we trust that.
I completely agree with you, Heneka. I mean, in the end, it's all about your gut. Whatever you're doing in life, if your gut is telling you do this or do that, probably go with what you feel instead of just listening to what other people are telling you to do. Or, because if I go with what people were saying the whole journey beyond the Shark Tank, I would have quit already. Because a lot of people told me, you're not gonna make this. This is not gonna work out. You're not going anywhere, or that's a stupid idea. But in the end, I kept going with my gut, my passion, and then in the end, your own gut and your own passion will tell you if this is gonna work out or not. Sometimes people work in an idea for 20 plus years, and one moment it just clicks. And some people sometimes work in a year or so and it clicks, and sometimes you work your whole life and it doesn't happen. So in the end, your own heart will tell you if it's that moment to leave it or continue or just pursue it. So
Yeah, and finally, as we're about to wrap, what I want to find out from you, like this is just such an interesting story, and I could go on listening and talking to you. I feel really personal about this one. I mean, I really feel connected to all my guests and all the interviews that I do, but I really must say that I have a very special personal connection to it, particularly because I personally watched that episode in particular. I'm a fan of Shark Tank overall, but I mean, I don't get to watch it every time, but I sat down and I really watched that episode. Quickly tell me, what has it been like since Shark Tank? Where are you now?
well, I mean, since Shark Tank, it was a great exposure because the good thing about it is that the show airs, you get a great exposure. And then after now, I was part of season 9. I think season 10 starts now in September. But what happens is that season 9 now goes on another syndicated TV show. So in the end, your episode is gonna always keep airing every year. So it's a blessing in that sense. But I'm humble because after the Shark Tank, I was able to with the help of Kevin close a licensing deal. So I basically gave the technology to a big company that actually do locks, and they're called Hampton Products. I had a chance to meet the CEO, Kim Kelly, and since then we just been working back and forth, and it's been a great, beautiful relationship. From there, they have helped me to create a line of products that you will be seeing out starting now in summertime with the Benji Lock Mini. Then we're gonna have a bigger Benji Lock, which was kind of like the first version that I created. And then we're also going to have a Benji Lock for TSA for traveling. So it is very exciting, like to see this little idea now kind of turning into a pipeline of products. Kevin has always been very hands-on. And yeah, you're going to see that coming out this summer in August. And we're going to be launching it with Ace Hardware at their major retail trade show in Chicago this August, second week of August. Very exciting, scary, but exciting.
I'm excited for you, Robbie. So thank you so much. And before you go, Robbie, please tell us where our listeners can find you. I'm sure they're going to want to connect with you after hearing such an inspiring story.
Yeah, no, I mean, anytime. I'm pretty much available, benjilock.com. They can also search us for our Instagram, BenjiLock Official, and also Facebook. But I'm mostly on LinkedIn as well. So I'll make sure to spread the word of the podcast and everything through our LinkedIn, because for some reason after the Shark Tank, my followers have just gone through the roof.
Through the roof. I've seen that. I've noticed that.
Yeah, and it's great. I mean, it's exciting and all that, and it's very excited also to be here because I know that even for yourself to create this podcast, you have to have a passion, and I see that you have a passion for what you're doing, and I think this is just the beginning for you, and you just have to keep it going. And I see that you're taking a risk every day doing what you love, and that's all it takes. And little by little, you'll just start seeing it growing and growing and growing. That, hey, it's incredible. So
I'm with you, my friend. I feel you. I'm with you. Thank you. Thank you so much. And of course, my peak performers, you know that you can find me too on Instagram, Twitter. You can find me on LinkedIn, on Facebook. Failing that, you go to HenekaWatkis-Porter.com and look for my name as well on all the social media platforms, and you will find me. We have come to the end of another great episode of the Entrepreneurial You podcast. Remember to subscribe in Apple Podcast and download all the episodes that you would have missed if you have not already subscribed and downloaded the episodes, and play them to the end as well, because good stuff is always at the end too. So do that, as well as go and leave a rate and review right now. I'd appreciate that. It helps a lot because I put a lot of effort into creating this free content, and it does help when I know that it is of significant value to you. So show your love by going to Apple Podcasts and just leave a rate and review. And when you leave that review, do send me an email at henekawatkisporter@gmail.com, because I'd love to be able to read them in an upcoming episode. And if I'm not notified, I won't know it's there, because unless you go into all the different stores in Apple, there is no way that I can actually know that a review was left or a current review was left. So it's important that when you leave your review, you send me an email, let me know about it, so I can go look for it and read it live on an episode of the Entrepreneurial You podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Heneka Watkis-Porter. Remember, you were born to win, but to be a winner, you must plan to win, prepare to win, and expect to win. Walk good.